All right, let's get right into it. Have you ever found yourself just replaying a mistake over and over in your head? Or that nagging feeling that you're just not measuring up? Well, if that sounds familiar, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to take that feeling, pull it apart, and really look at why that critical voice in your head isn't telling you the whole truth.
Just let that sink in for a second. It's so true, isn't it? When a friend messes up, we're the first ones there with encouragement and support. But when we mess up, man, we can be so brutal. And you know what? That is an incredibly human thing to do. So let's explore why we do this, and more importantly, how we can start giving ourselves that same kindness we give away so freely.
So, to start, let's actually give that voice a name. Because it's not just you being hard on yourself. This is a real documented part of our psychology. What we're talking about is the inner critic. Now, here's the really tricky thing about the inner critic. It's sneaky. It often pretends it's trying to protect you. It tells you you're not good enough so you won't try and fail. But in reality, it's not protecting you at all. It's just creating shame and self-doubt, and it's stopping you from taking the very risks that lead to a bigger, better life. So how does this inner critic actually operate? Well, it tends to follow some pretty predictable patterns. We can boil them down to these 3 C's. First, there's comparing. We've all been there, right? Scrolling through someone's perfect-looking life and feeling like our own just doesn't stack up. Then there's criticizing, that harsh judgment about our own worth. And finally, complaining, where we get totally stuck on the negatives, blind to anything good. I'm guessing at least one of those sounds a little too familiar, right? So, why? Why are we wired this way? This is so important to understand. Being self-critical is not a personal feeling. It's not a flaw in your character. It's actually a feature of how our brains evolved. So let's look at the psychology behind it. Okay, this is absolutely fascinating. That little voice beating you up is basically running on outdated software. For our ancient ancestors, fitting in with the group was literally a matter of life and death, so our brains developed this intense alarm system to make sure we followed the rules. The problem? That same life or death alarm system is now going off because you made a typo in an email. It's a total overreaction. You see, our brains are built for efficiency. They love shortcuts. These shortcuts are called cognitive biases. And while they help us make sense of the world quickly, they're not always accurate. They act like a distorted lens, bending what we see to fit a story that's already there. And for the inner critic, that story is almost always a negative one. And these biases lead to some really common thinking traps, like personalizing. A team project fails and you think, it's all my fault. Or catastrophizing. You make one small mistake at work and think, that's it, I'm definitely getting fired. There's filtering, where you get 10 compliments and 1 critique, and all you can think about is the critique. And oh, the should statements. I should be further along in my career. I should be a better person. It's just a recipe for guilt. So what's powering all this? What's the fuel for this fire? Well, deep down, we find our core beliefs. You can think of these as the source code running in the background of your mind. They're these unwritten rules, often formed when we were young, that whisper things like, I'm inadequate or I'm not lovable. And that is what gives the inner critic its power. It's why that voice can feel so real. Okay, that was the problem, and I know it can feel pretty deep and powerful. But right now, we're at the turning point, because there is a profound, research-backed way to deal with the inner critic. And it's not about fighting it. It's not about trying to destroy that voice. It's about introducing a new one, the voice of self-compassion. Now, before we go any further, let's just clear the air. I know what you might be thinking. Self-compassion? Isn't that just feeling sorry for yourself? If I'm not hard on myself, won't I just become lazy? Nope, not at all. Let's bust these myths right now. The research is crystal clear. Self-compassion isn't weakness. It is a powerful source of strength, resilience, and real, lasting motivation. So the foundation for all of this is self-acceptance. And listen, this isn't about giving up on getting better. Not at all. It's about giving up on being your own worst enemy. Because real, lasting change never, ever grows from a place of self-hatred. It grows from accepting exactly who and where you are, right now. So how do we actually do this? We can't just tell the inner critic to shut up. That usually makes it louder. No, we need to build a new, more constructive voice, a better voice. Let's call it your inner coach. I mean, just look at this contrast. It says it all. The inner critic, all about flaws, fear, and shame. It wants to tear you down.
But the inner coach, that's about your strengths. It offers encouragement. It's motivated by growth. It sees challenges not as proof you're a failure, but as opportunities to learn. This is the shift we're aiming for.
And let's break that down even more, because this difference is absolutely crucial. The inner critic is the engine of perfectionism. It sets impossible standards and ties your entire self-worth to whether or not you succeed. It's exhausting. The inner coach, on the other hand, promotes healthy striving. Here, your self-worth is stable. It's not on the line every single day. And failure, it's not a disaster. It's just data. It's part of the process.
Okay, so this all sounds good in theory, right? But how do we actually put it into practice in our real, messy lives? Let's get into the toolkit. We're talking simple, actionable things you can start doing like today.
If you only do one thing from all of this, please try this exercise. It is so powerful. So first, bring to mind a recent time you were really hard on yourself. Got it? Okay. Now, imagine your best friend comes to you and tells you they're going through that exact same thing. What would you say to them? I bet your words would be kind and understanding. I bet they'd be encouraging. Now for the hardest part, can you turn that compassion inward? Can you say those exact same words to yourself? It's gonna feel weird at first. That's okay. You're literally building new pathways in your brain.
And here are a few more tools for your kit. Supportive touch, like just placing a hand over your heart, can physically calm your nervous system down. Journaling is amazing for spotting the critic's lies and writing down the actual evidence, the truth. Affirmations can help build new positive beliefs. And mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches you that your thoughts are just thoughts. They're like clouds passing in the sky. You don't have to believe every single one of them.
And as you try these things, please remember this one crucial point. The goal here is progress, not perfection. You're gonna have days when that inner critic is loud again. That is totally okay. The goal isn't to be perfect at self-compassion. Can you imagine the irony of beating yourself up over that? The goal is just to be a little bit kinder to yourself today than you are yesterday. So, I want to leave you with this question. Just for a moment, imagine that voice in your head was your biggest fan. Imagine it was your coach, your best friend, always in your corner, cheering you on. With that kind of support system inside your own head, what would you finally have the courage to do? What could you become?